Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rear view mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And lots to get to here over the next 2 hours. I'm fired up to be here. Going to talk a little bit about LSU's injury situation. Interim coach Frank Wilson was on the SEC teleconference earlier today and talked about it. I'm going to talk about how that's going to affect LSU on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. It's What If Wednesday. Already got some good ones filed away. We've got room for more. If you're on Twitter and want to hit me at HuntPalmer88 in the Bayou Ford chat, want to fire away there. Take what ifs on football, basketball, baseball, whatever you'd like to talk about. We'll do that in 30 minutes. LSU basketball tips off tonight in the Assembly Center. Tarleton State is the opponent. Billy Gillespie, the head coach at Tarleton State. We'll talk about that at the end of the hour here. I think Tyler Shough's job got tougher yesterday. We'll briefly talk about that at the top of hour number 2. J.D. Pickell with us on Wednesdays, host of the Hard Count on On3 Sports, talking national college football. And, of course, SEC Power Rankings at 2:30. So, as you can tell, lots to get to. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right to it with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
Well, big news yesterday as LSU ushered in a new president, a new chancellor, and then in the hours that followed, an athletic director. Verge Ausberry was the interim athletic director. That was announced on Friday of last week. Officially, LSU has not removed the interim tag, but that report surfaced yesterday. We had it over at LouisianaSports.net. Ross Dellinger had it as well. And if you were paying attention earlier today, that was confirmed by President Roos that Verge Ausberry will be LSU's new director of athletics. This hire has a lot of layers to it that if you've listened to my show over the course of the last few years, you've heard me talk about these things repeatedly. It's things that I believe in, and a lot of these things that I believe in are intertwined in this situation that LSU has found itself in. And one of the things I've talked about a lot is that the process does not equal the result. You've heard me say this a lot. I talked about hires from all over the country that were very smooth, that didn't work. I've talked about very bumpy hires that did work. I mean, you look at LSU hiring Ed Ogeron. I thought that process was a disaster. They got all the way down the road to try to hire Tom Herman, and when they realized he was going to go to Texas, they didn't try to look elsewhere and decide what else they were going to do. They just ran Ed Ogeron to the podium. Not a great way to do business. It resulted in the greatest college football team we've ever seen. Okay? Texas A&M's hiring of Mike Elko was a grease fire. They had agreed to terms with Mark Stoops. He was getting on the airplane to fly to College Station, and the internet erupted. And they said, well, I guess the internet doesn't like that. We won't do it. They hired Mike Elko. That's going pretty well in College Station right now. LSU's hiring of Brian Kelly was perfect. Quiet. Nobody talked about Brian Kelly, conducted interviews, looked all around the country, and then by the time that Brian Kelly's name surfaced, he was headed to Baton Rouge. That didn't work. It was a failed hire. Like, you look at Mississippi State's hiring of Joe Moorhead, which is not like a famous example, but I just recall being so impressed that like Dan Mullen left him. He was a guy that had been there for a very long time, and John Cohen was the AD at Mississippi State, and within a matter of a couple of days, he had Joe Moorhead, who was running a really good offense at Penn State for James Franklin, and not a lot of people were talking about. Boom, he's at the podium. Like, it was very smooth, very clean. Cohen had his guy, made the hire. Complete disaster. Didn't work at all. So, like, you get the point. I could go on and on with examples, but, like, the process doesn't necessarily matter to the result. They're not married. Another thing that I always talk about is the guy next to the guy may not be a guy. I've talked about Smoke Laval standing next to Skip Bertman. Stick with college baseball. Michael Early standing next to Jim Schlossnagle. How'd that work out last year in College Station? Mike Martin Jr. standing next to his dad. Ran Florida State's program into a ditch when he took the reins. I mean, just another example, like in Oregon, Chip Kelly was a high-flying offensive savant at Oregon. They were doing things no one had ever seen offensively, and he stepped away. And they hired Mark Helfrich, and that was a disaster. The guy next to the guy, not always the guy. Another thing that you hear me talk about a lot is I like people that care about LSU. Like, that means something to me in certain situations. And in all of those, like, things that I believe in and things I've talked about in far different situations that don't have anything to do with LSU's athletic director, I've said those time and time again. And I thought about those yesterday when this announcement was made. Like, I don't like this process. I don't like the process that put Verge Ausberry in this position. And I'm going to talk about Verge in a second, but I don't like this process. I don't like a process where the athletic director is fired and then 40 hours later, an interim AD is put in place. And then on the other side of the weekend, a president is announced, and within 4 hours, he's hired an athletic director. To me, that process is flawed. At LSU, a brand this powerful, an athletic department this big and this successful, I would like to conduct a national search to find the best person you can find for this job. That's my opinion. It's the same feeling I have about Duke's basketball program, North Carolina's basketball program. I didn't like their hires of John Shire and Hubert Davis. They just kind of hired the next guy. I don't like this process. I don't like hiring the guy next to the guy necessarily. It's not always a bad decision, and it may not be a bad decision in this case, but I do think that it's just taking the shortcut. It's just aiming for immediate stability, not the best guy. And I like people that care about LSU. And I talked about Scott Woodward being fired last week, and I talked about how one of the things I liked about Scott was that I knew he cared about LSU. And you certainly know that Verge cares about LSU. Now, you've heard me talk about this process I don't like. You've heard me talk about the guy next to the guy, which Scott Woodward was the guy next, which Verge Ausberry is the guy next to Scott Woodward. And you've heard me talk about the fact that Verge loves LSU. The other piece to this is that Verge is very, very qualified for this job. He is. He's been in this athletic department for 30 years. He's worked, well, first of all, he played football here. Like, he was in the athletic department as a student athlete. He's worked in compliance. He's worked with multiple different programs on campus, not just football. You know, there are some people that are just football guys, and that's what they do. They're football. Like, Verge has worked with other programs on this campus. You've heard Kim Mulkey last night talk about Verge and the relationship that she has with him. And so he's worked in that capacity. He's worked in coaching searches, multiple coaching searches at LSU, and not just football. Men's basketball, women's basketball, football. He's been involved in some of those. He's watched Scott Woodward work. He knows the people that matter in this state when it comes to boosters. That's not something he's going to have to learn. And he loves LSU, is something I've talked about. So this is not I'm not criticizing the hire of the person and the resume of Verge Ausberry, because I believe that Verge is qualified for this job. I have no idea if he's going to do a bad job or a good job. No idea. But he is qualified for the position. I don't like the process by which LSU got to this situation. So now you move forward. Big concern on Friday. You don't have a president. You don't have an athletic director. You don't have a football coach. Okay. You've got a president and a chancellor now. And you've got an athletic director. So now LSU is in a much better situation on Wednesday of this week than Thursday of last week. You're in a better position to go hire a football coach. Now, we'll see as things come out and this process unfolds how much LSU believes is convicted in these hires and how much they did this so that they can better hire a football coach. Because the football coach on that campus is a very, very important position. You all know this. There are statistics, there are surveys, there are studies done on an athletic department's success and then the university's success beyond that. Now, I'm not going to try to compare every single person to Nick Saban. He's the greatest college football coach that has ever walked the planet. But undoubtedly, the University of Alabama flourished as that football program took off and became a machine. And so you understand that hiring a football coach is important, not just to the fans who pack Tiger Stadium, not just to the alumni across the state. It's important to the university. You can have a great university without a good football team, of course. But when you're at this part of the country in a university like LSU that's a state school in the South, like, it's important to have a really good football coach. And I'm confident that that's considered when people at LSU are making decisions. To put a bow on this, I don't like the process that got LSU to this spot. I don't like the way things were handled last week. I don't like the way that we arrived at this decision yesterday. However, there are two different pieces to this. Verge Ausberry is qualified for this job. Verge Ausberry has put in his time. Verge Ausberry knows this university and this state. And Verge Ausberry loves LSU. And I'm very, very hopeful that he's going to do an awesome job. And I feel like LSU has a man in charge now that can do a good job. And now LSU pushes off the dock and goes to get a football coach. And undoubtedly, today, as I sit here, they are in a much better position to do that than they were last week, which I would argue was the most chaotic week in the history of LSU football. It's just not very often you have a blowout loss that empties the stadium, a head coach fired, and then a governor media tour that ultimately results in the athletic director's termination. That's a lot to pack into 5 days. You're on the other side of it now. You've got that word that everybody uses, alignment, and it's time to go out and hire a football coach. Everyone kind of knows their role now, where I don't think really anybody knew his or her role middle of last week, and you've got to go make the best decision possible. Verge Ausberry is going to be in charge of making that decision. I'm behind him. I hope it is a great one. Verge Ausberry, the new athletic director over at LSU. Got plenty to do here. That's our Genesis opening drive. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. When we come back, got an injury update. Whit Weeks on the defense, Carius Kern on the offense. What does it mean moving forward to Alabama? We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that is on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. And every new purchase at Genesis of Baton Rouge comes with America's best warranty. It's industry leading. It's the peace of mind that comes with it. With a 100,000-mile, 10-year powertrain warranty. With a 5-year, 60,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty. How bummed are you when you realize, going to have to spend some cash on that vehicle? That's never a great feeling. But when you've got that warranty in your back pocket, America's best warranty, the peace of mind is phenomenal. You also have that enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, 5 years, unlimited miles. For 5 years, you don't have to worry. And then you've got the convenience that comes with that complimentary valet scheduled maintenance for 3 years. You don't have to worry about the oil changes. You don't have to worry about the air filter. You don't have to worry about the wiper blades or the wiper fluid. They got you covered at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Go by and see them, airline at PQ, or check them out online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Looking to get in the pool of your dreams for next pool season? You can do that at Renaissance Homes and Pools. I think the time's passed for 2025. I'm running this week in hooded sweatshirts and pants, so probably not pool time, although the high's like 80 today, so I guess technically you could go out there this afternoon if you'd like to. But you can get into the pool of your dreams for 2026 if you just contact my guy, Joey Blanchard, at Renaissance Homes and Pools. I give you Joey's cell phone number every single week, and that makes it pretty easy to get in touch with him. He's the owner of the company. You call his cell. How good is that to work with a local company? He's at 225-252-7745. He'll be with you start to finish. First consultation, the design process, Joey's right there with you every step of the way. Digging that pool, he's there. Filling that pool, he's there. The finish of that pool, he is there. You want to add an outdoor kitchen, they can do that at Renaissance Homes and Pools as well. If you're thinking of getting that backyard to be everything you ever wanted it to be, with the pool, with the outdoor kitchen, the hosting areas, they got you covered at Renaissance Homes and Pools. Check them out online at builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, Frank Wilson was on the SEC Coaches Teleconference today, and he updated the status of Whit Weeks and Carius Kern. I will start with Carius Kern, who we talked about yesterday with the offensive line. Wilson said Carius will have a chance. I think his progress has been a steady one. He's played more and more in each one of the practices, so I'm optimistic that he'll have an opportunity to play for us. That certainly is not a ringing endorsement that Kern's going to be ready to go. I think there's a chance. We spoke about it yesterday. You're going to look at a situation where DJ Chester is the next man up at that spot, puts Weston Davis at right tackle, DJ Chester at left tackle. It's not ideal for LSU in any way, shape, or form, but you'd certainly rather have Kern than not have him, especially because I believe LSU is intent on running the ball a lot in this game. And Carius Kern's just a big physical dude that can help run the football. Is he the best pass protector at left tackle in the Southeastern Conference? No, he's not. You saw that in the A&M game, but he's big, he's physical, he can move some people, and I think that if he can play, they'd love to have him in there. The more impactful situation here might be Whit Weeks, and the message on Weeks wasn't as positive. Wilson said, I think he's probably more doubtful at this time considering today. We'll see how today's practice goes and how he looks, but we're hopeful. And then he continued on when asked a follow-up question about what Weeks is able to do. And y'all realize that Whit Weeks has been in a walking boot for like a month. This is what Frank Wilson had to say. He can put weight on it. He can straight line run. He'll be on the practice field, but the game isn't just linear. Our sport is one of starting, stopping, changing direction, awkward position, bodies falling on you, acceleration, deceleration, jump, come down, those things. That's the true test. If you walked out today and asked him to run, he could do that. We've got to put him in situations to gauge his pain tolerance to see if he could. And he has a high threshold for pain tolerance, but you just don't know because it's not just muscles that are in there. Sometimes it's nerves or other things that can annoy. We'll just see if that subsides. So point is, like, he's feeling better. He can run, but the change of direction, everything that goes into playing inside linebacker in the Southeastern Conference just may not be there for him. This is something that jumped off the page at me today, and it deals with Whit Weeks a little bit, and it deals with LSU's competition level a little bit, and it deals with everything that goes into stopping the run a little bit. But Weeks is certainly a part of this. I'm going to read out for you the rushing totals against LSU's defense this season. Just do them in order. I know numbers don't play great on radio, but you'll get this. At Clemson, LSU gave up 31 rushing yards. Louisiana Tech, LSU gave up 58 running yards. Florida, 79 rushing yards. Southeastern, 88 rushing yards. Those were with Whit Weeks at full health. You get to the point where he gets hurt in the Ole Miss game. LSU gave up, and keep in mind, those numbers were 31, 58, 79, 88. Like, all under 90 yards, including Florida with 79 and Clemson with 31. Weeks gets hurt against Ole Miss. They give up 166. Then you got South Carolina. Weeks limited in that game. They ran for 193. Vanderbilt, Weeks doesn't play. 239 rushing yards. A&M, Weeks doesn't play. 224 rushing yards. 166, 193, 239, 224. Vanderbilt and Texas A&M ran for 463 yards against LSU. I don't know how much of this is on Whit Weeks' injury. I don't know. I'm confident in suggesting that Texas A&M, South Carolina, Ole Miss, and Vanderbilt are better rushing offenses than Clemson, Louisiana Tech, Florida, and Southeastern. That is certainly a part of it. But you also look at this, and it perfectly falls in line not only with that ramp up in competition, but with Weeks being out. And I'm not here to suggest that Whit Weeks is the perfect linebacker. But anybody who finishes second in the Southeastern Conference in tackles is doing something. Now, keep in mind, in the Florida game, he didn't really play as well. That's a caveat here. He got the targeting call. And look, Devon Key stepped in and had a monster night in tackling. But you got to think that somebody finishes second in the SEC in tackles last year would help this a little bit. And right now, LSU's run defense is not only not great, not elite, not good. LSU's run defense is bad. It's bad. And I told you all August, I'm just speaking for myself here. I told you all August, this defense is good, y'all. Defensive front's good. Linebackers can play. They're physical. They're deep. Like, it's going to be a good run defense. And then I told you after the Clemson game, Clemson just quit trying to run it. They ran it once in the second half. And I felt like this was a championship-level defense against the run, against the pass. I felt good about the guys they had rushing the passer. I said all this. And you look at what they've done the last month, it's not good. It's not great. It stinks. It's awful. 166 against Ole Miss, 193 against South Carolina, 239 against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt didn't even run that many plays. 224 against Texas A&M. And it's different ways. Like, Ole Miss is doing it with the tempo that they want to run with, and they're running it up the middle with a good running back in Lacey, and they've got Chambliss who can test the edges. South Carolina's a bit more helter-skelter, but they busted a 60-plus yard touchdown run on you for a big play. Sellers can get going a little bit. Vanderbilt is doing a little bit of triple option, a little bit of improvisation from Pavia, some quarterback runs, some just testing you in your discipline. And then Texas A&M, like Marcel Reed, got loose for 100 yards. Like, it's not just like one thing that LSU can't stop. Yeah, the running quarterback's a problem, but like Sellers didn't crush you. Chambliss did, Pavia did, Reed certainly did. but they're also the big plays. Like, it's everything with the run that you're not doing. And you've got Whit Weeks out. Keys is not quite that level. West Weeks, not quite that level. And, Perkins is asked to do some different things. You've seen the tape that Hester and Flynn have shown you. Sometimes he's a spy and not getting there. I feel like you're missing a lot with Whit Weeks. And I think there are a lot of you that will go, oh, obviously you're missing a lot with Whit Weeks. He's the captain of the team. He's an All-American. He was a preseason first-team All-SEC linebacker. Like, yeah, you're missing a lot. But I thought when he went out, like, they've got, like, Keys has played a lot. And West Weeks is a fifth-year senior, and Harold Perkins is supposed to be your most dynamic defender. And, like, you've got a front that's deep in the tackle with McKinley and with Jacoby and Guillory, and you get Bro in there, and then all of a sudden you did get Gooden back, and you got Pyburn, who's supposed to be a champion up there stopping the run, and Patrick Payton's a fourth-year player, and yeah, you lost Relaford, but you've got some physicality and some depth up there. You should be okay. They're not okay. They're getting gashed. Now, Bama hasn't done a lot of that to anybody. We went through the numbers yesterday. Bama's in the hundreds in rushing offense. They have not been a team that's leaned heavily on the run. Jam Miller's a really talented back. He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries, but they've done most of their work through the air. So maybe in this game, if Whit Weeks doesn't play, and it sounds very much like listening to Frank Wilson today that he's not going to play, like maybe Alabama tries to push you a little bit more on the run. And then who does that favor? Does it favor LSU because you take the ball out of Simpson's hands a little bit? Or does it, is it a spot where Alabama can hurt LSU on the ground like these other teams have, and that makes Simpson even better through the air? Just remains to be seen. But we didn't know the severity of this injury when Whit Weeks had it. I thought when he kind of gave it a go against South Carolina that he would probably fight through this pretty quickly, but he just hadn't gotten out of that walking boot. And it seems like he's finally out of that. Maybe he can go against Arkansas next week, but right now, as you look at it, it's just hard to see a scenario where Whit Weeks goes against Alabama, and you just continue to wonder if LSU's defense is just that severely compromised without him out there, or if this is just a matter of they weren't that good in the first place. Maybe we get our answer on Saturday, but it's a bummer that Whit Weeks it just was looking like such a promising leader for this team and right in the guts of that schedule. I mean, you don't need Whit Weeks against Tech or Southeastern. You didn't really use him against Florida, but for the guts of this schedule, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, Bama, like that is the guts of the schedule. It's the toughest part of your schedule. To not have him is really disappointing. Sounds like they won't get him on Saturday, so big bummer there for LSU. All right, we got a lot of good What If Wednesdays that have come in via Twitter as well as Bayou Ford Chat, so we'll continue to mine some of those out of there. In the commercial break, we'll come back and do them. Some about LSU football, some with LSU basketball, some with the Saints, and a little bit of travel as well. So we'll get into that when we come back on this Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Awesome place to work on your game. If you're an avid golfer or if you're trying to get into golf, winter makes it tough, obviously. Grass doesn't grow on the range, can be cold or windy, or the wet stays a little bit longer, it gets dark earlier. It's just a tough time to try to work on your golf game. But you can at Swing Easy Golf Club because none of those elements matter. You walk in to their facility there on Segan at Perkins, you go to one of your private bays, you crank up the simulator on the driving range, and you hit golf balls for as long as you like. You hit golf balls, you see the trajectory in the flight path on that monitor. You can see your ball speed, your carry distance. You can see the slow-mo impact of your club face on the ball. I found that particularly helpful when I was doing it at Swing Easy Golf Club. It's a great place to work on your game so that when the warm weather warms back up in the spring and getting towards the summer, you hadn't felt like you've taken 6 months off golf. You don't have to down here in South Louisiana. So check them out, Segan at Perkins. You can find them online at SwingEasyGCBR.com. Memberships are available. Great place to hang out as well, but also an awesome place to work on your game at Swing Easy Golf Club, SwingEasyGCBR.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather updates throughout the morning. The conversation starts weekday mornings at 6 on Talk 107.3.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personal.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Chugging along here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. LSU basketball tonight at the PMAC. They'll play Tarleton State. I want to talk about that a little bit here at the end of the hour. It's exciting to me when LSU gets onto the basketball court. I don't have massively high expectations for this team, but I'm hopeful they can make things interesting after the turn of the year, and we'll see their first edition tonight in the PMAC against Billy Gillespie in Tarleton State. So I'll give you some of the thoughts on that at the end of the hour. But for right now, let's do some What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, to start this bad boy off, we have what if LSU wins out down the stretch?
I don't think it's enough to get into the playoff. I think you're 9-3. I think you got some nice wins. At Alabama's a really nice win. At Oklahoma's a really nice win. But I don't think it's enough to get in the playoffs when you consider that Alabama's still probably in at 10-2. Yeah. Texas A&M is in. I think Georgia's in. You still got to look at
Texas is still scrappy.
Yeah, Texas is still there. Vanderbilt's still there. Yeah, and did I mention Ole Miss? They're still there. Yeah, so you've got a lot of teams that you're jockeying for, and you have three losses. So I don't think you get in. It becomes a question of Frank Wilson, and I can't pretend to know what the results of this search are going to be or what the parameters are put in. Like, if the governor's telling you that you can only spend so much money on a coach and you can only structure a contract one certain way, and you got all these other teams in there that are willing to spend more money and are willing to guarantee contracts, maybe you are going to hire your interim coach. I don't know, but I think that Frank's candidacy would be considered at that point.
Yeah.
Whether or not he would get that job, let's let it play out and see how things go over the last month. But if LSU wins out, I think they're short of the playoff, and Frank Wilson's candidacy would be more closely considered than if LSU went 2-2 or 1-3 down the stretch.
Yeah. The morale for the team will be huge going into next year for sure. What if LSU doesn't have a coach for National Signing Day? That kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah, you'll lose a lot out of the class.
Yeah.
It just is what it is. And that would have been a really, really big deal 8 years ago. Losing essentially a class, maybe signing 9 or 11 guys would have been a big, big deal. It's still not ideal in this situation. You've got some really good players committed, and even some out of this state. You don't want to lose some of the best players in the country that are right here in your backyard. But you may, because they're going to want to sign. They're going to want to enroll early. And if you don't have a coach, they're going to do that somewhere else. But it's not the death knell to a program that it once was. Do you want to keep these high school guys around? Yes. Do you realize that some of the high school guys that signed are just going to be Zalance Hurd, who show up for a year, get on the field for 2 games and leave? Like that's the way things goes. Walker Howard was massively lauded around here as a potential 5-star quarterback, and he ended up coming here, and then he goes to Ole Miss, and now he's at ULL, and unfortunately got hurt. But that's what a lot of this stuff is. You want them all to be Will Campbell. That's awesome. Harlan Berry looks like a star, and you want to get those guys in. But if the what if is what if LSU doesn't have a coach for National Signing Day, you're going to lose significant pieces of this class. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I just think that LSU fans should probably temper their reaction to when the 18-year-old puts on Twitter, I'm decommitting and I'm going to A&M, or I'm going to Florida, or I'm going to Michigan, or whatever. Go to the portal, get some new guys. You just gotta. That's the way you gotta operate here, and that's so it'll be different, but it'll be part of the process.
All right. So what if you can only visit What if you can only live in / visit 3 states for the rest of your life? You're allowed gas, meal, layover, stops along the way, but you have to keep moving through others.
So I can set my feet down essentially in 3 states moving forward. Louisiana is an obvious one. I'm going to live here. This is home. This is where my family is. This is where LSU is. This is where work is. I have no interest in going anywhere else ever. So Louisiana is one. I get 2 places to essentially go. You got to consider logistics here a little bit. And you got to consider the fact that I don't care that much about travel. There are only so many life experiences that I really crave. I like playing golf a lot. I like watching the Cubs a lot. I like the beach. I don't need to see every corner of the country. I don't ever need to set foot in a national park of any kind ever. I don't ever need to hike. I don't need to see a mountain. So for me, number one, I've got to put Illinois on the list because I have to go watch the Cubs. I want to go to Wrigley Field. I want to drink a cold beer in the outfield a lot of times in the summer with my kids, with my wife, I want to go to Wrigley. That's something I want to do. Chicago is a city that I love. I love to eat there. I love to go to Cubs games there. I love to see shows there. I love the vibes. I love the summer. So Illinois, definitely one. And then my third one, I'm probably going to go practical here, and I'm going to go Florida.
Okay, you had to go Florida.
Yeah, I can go to the 30A. If I can drive over there and vacation on the beach. If I want to go watch the Cubs play in Miami or Tampa, I can do that. There are famous golf courses there. I can go play TPC Sawgrass that's in Florida. I can go down there and play Trump Doral in Miami where they played PGA Tour events. There are golf courses all over that place that you can go visit.
Yeah.
I like Miami. We honeymooned there, and I had a good time there. I can spend time there even in the winter. So is it the greatest? California may offer a little bit more in terms of variety because there's better weather up in Northern California, and I'd get to go to San Francisco and San Diego, which is a totally different vibe. And Florida's kind of all the same for more or less. But I can't get to California really quickly like that, like I can to Florida. So for me, I think out of practicality, I'm going Louisiana, Illinois, and Florida. You got thoughts on that?
Mine would have to be Colorado for sure. Denver. I love Denver.
Okay.
It's a little out the way. I haven't been there during the winter time, so that's a little sketchy. And drive on the snow and all that. So I don't, that's a little scary. And it's hard not to go Florida. It's just hard. Okay. It's just so much that Florida offers. So I'll say Florida, Colorado. I guess I got to say Louisiana. My family here. Just because of the family. Just because of the family. But
home is where the heart is.
Yeah, if you cut me open, I'm bleeding black and gold. I ain't bleeding Pelicans. I'll bleed the Saints though. Speaking of the Saints, what if the Saints go 1-16?
I think it's obvious if they go 1-16. You're picking first in the draft, and you're drafting a quarterback first overall. I mean,
Sellers?
Is it an indictment on Kellen Moore? I don't know if it is or not. Is it an indictment on Tyler Shough?
Yes, it is.
Probably.
The only reason I'm gonna say that, Hunt, is because you play the Jets. If you can't beat the Jets at this point, the state of affair the Jets are in, you lose that game. Yes, that is an indictment on Kellen Moore and Shough, 100%. Because they don't want to win.
Yeah, but if at that point Shuck's gonna be toast, and Kellen Moore, you hope you get a better roster for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they go and that's the deal. Like, if you're a Saints fan, you're probably not bummed out when they lose because you're maybe moving in the right direction when you lose. Unfortunately.
Yeah, hey, what is the race to the bottom? Race to the bottom. So what if you had to bet $100 on a national champion this year, and every team had the same odds?
I'd go with Ohio State.
Okay.
I mean, it's almost impossible to find a scenario where Texas A&M doesn't get in the playoffs, and I think they're very good. But Ohio State is unbeaten. They've got the best player on offense and maybe the best player on defense. Yeah. I think that I would probably go with them, but I think it's fairly open. I think there's some teams that can win it, and I think A&M certainly one of them. But I would take to Ohio State if I was getting 1-to-1 back on everybody. I would go Ohio State.
It's hard not to go Ohio State with that because, like you said, everybody has the same odds, and they're most likely going to win it again. You know what? I've been with Jimmy a little bit. I'm a gambler. Let's go Kurt Signetti. Let's throw some on Indiana. You know what? Let's for giggles. Okay. So from Brian in the chat, what is it? Number?
No, that's just a hashtag.
Okay. So from Brian in the chat, what if you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice? What would it be? Oh, that's a good one, man.
That is interesting. I mean, it's hard not to go super deep on that.
Yeah, for real.
If I'm guaranteeing, if I'm talking about I know what's going to happen, I would just say it's going to be all right. Like, it's going to be all right.
It's going to be all right. Yes.
You've had some hiccups along the way, professionally, personally, all those things happen. But it's going to be okay. I mean, I've gotten to the place where I really wanted to be anyway. So it's those bumps along the road are not going to last. And I think at times when you're younger, something that happens to you seems like maybe the worst thing ever, and it generally speaking is not. Everyone has their own sets of problems, and everybody's in a different situation. But generally speaking, especially you're in your teens, you're in your early 20s, like you can pretty much recover from just about anything at that point. Now, I can't put a blanket over every scenario, but certainly things that have happened in my life, you can move right on through.
Well, no, that's great advice because as somebody in their early 20s, I definitely know where you're coming from. So mine will have to be to younger Jordan. Hey, man, do not drive in that hurricane. Leave it alone. Stay in your dorm. Do not drive in that hurricane. That's the advice.
Did we get in a wreck?
Oh, yeah. I had a 2001 Chevy Monte Carlo, my dad's car gave me. I got in high school. That was my baby. It was like Hurricane Zeta or something. I'm in college, and it's just stupidness.
Took it out for a spin?
I went to visit somebody, and I should have just stayed over there. And I was like, I can make it back. I can make it back to Southern. I can make it back. Didn't know Scenic Highway floods very bad. And if you know anything about a Monte Carlo, it sits on the ground. So you can see where the issue comes when you go down the street and it looks like the ocean and you're in a Monte Carlo. So, yeah, that would be what I tell a 19, 20-year-old Jordan. Yeah, bro, stay inside. It's not smart.
Good thought there in the chat. Just take every cent to your name and buy Bitcoin. I still don't know what Bitcoin is, but I would be in a better situation if I had bought a bunch of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Best I can tell, everyone just buys it to sell it, and I don't get it. But I should have bought a lot of it instead of zero.
Bitcoin or, a lot of sports bets. I would have been every Super Bowl national champion. I'm on that.
Got a lot of Bilbo Baggins in the chat says, expand your horizon. There's more to the world than sports. I'm confident there is more in the world of sports. I just don't care that much about all the other stuff. I don't care. I don't need to see a pretty park. I don't need to walk through the woods and hike. I'm thrilled that people love to do that. I get nothing out of it. It's like most people would get nothing out of going to play golf. Most people get nothing out of going to watch LSU practice baseball, but I like to do that. So I don't care about nature. I don't care about seeing the sights. I don't care about politics. There's a lot of things I don't care about. My horizons are very much not expanded. But thankfully, I've gotten to do something now that doesn't require me to expand those horizons. So I'll keep them pretty narrow. That's where we are. So that's What If Wednesday here on this Wednesday. Come back, talk some LSU basketball there on the hardwood tonight. 3 things to look for next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. If you've got a bathroom that maybe was built in the 90s, has one of those huge jacuzzi-style tubs, and you walk by it every day and go, I never use this thing. It is just a massive waste of space. Well, you're not alone. And a lot of people have called David Duvall and fixed that issue because they take out that big hunkin' jacuzzi tub they never use and put in a big shower to use that space where you're actually going to use it. That's what David Duvall and his team can do for you. It doesn't have to be a massive renovation, a huge expansion that is massive dollar signs and weeks on end. That's not what we're talking about every single time here with One Bath and Closets. They can do something like a tub-to-shower conversion that can be done within a week and can be affordable. And it changes the entire dynamic of your bathroom. That's something you've never really considered, but now that I say it, you go, that makes some sense. Contact David. Go to onebathandclosets.com. Set up that free consultation. He'll let you know where to move forward. He's been doing it for 30 years. He can help you next, as he's done for dozens and dozens in Baton Rouge. There's One Bath and Closets. Find him online, onebathandclosets.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1 here. Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. LSU tonight, 7 o'clock, Pete Maravich Assembly Center. We'll open up the season on the hardwood against Tarleton State. Tarleton State led by Billy Gillespie, former Texas A&M coach, former Kentucky coach, who was at Texas Tech, stepped down for health concerns, then actually went to his alma mater, Ranger College, where he went to junior college, coached there for 5 years, and now he's been Tarleton State for a couple of years. They actually opened their season on Monday, and they lost by 20 to SMU in Dallas. They'll come now to Baton Rouge. And look, I talked about this a lot. I watched really bad LSU basketball teams in my day, and back that team 3 years ago that was just incapable of winning a game in Matt McMahon's first year. I went and I was watching them play in February, and I would go to the games. People go, why would you go to that? They're 1-14 in the league. I like watching LSU play basketball. I like when they put the purple and gold on. I like basketball. I like watching them go play. And I'm excited to go in there and watch them tonight. I think this team is improved over last year. I think the biggest improvement's going to be at point guard. I think Deion Thomas is the real deal. I still have to figure out if we're going with Deion Thomas or DJ Thomas for Deion Thomas Jr. We'll find that out tonight. I've heard both. He's the point guard. He's left-handed. He's not the most explosive athlete in the world, but he's quick, and he's got great court awareness and ability to distribute. He scored 15 points in the second half against Central Florida, had 16 overall, had 9 assists. He diced up Central Florida in the second half of that game, and they're going to initiate most of their offense through him at the top of the key with a lot of ball screens. Excited to watch him. I'm curious what LSU does on the wing tonight. In the game against Central Florida, Max McKinnon, a 6'7" wing from Portland, who's a really good shooter, manned a lot of those minutes. You also saw Marquel Sutton play the 3 at 6'9". He's big and explosive athlete. Was Conference Player of the Year last year at Omaha. And those two guys manned the wing. I expect to see Ron Zipper at some point, the Israeli who played 4 years of professional basketball in Israel. He's a 26-year-old freshman. He didn't play in the exhibition. He's missed some practice time. I'm not sure what the situation is there, but I would expect him to play. He's a little bit more closer to 6'4". He's also left-handed. I would expect to see him play a little bit on the wing as well. I don't know if you're going to see much of Mozzie Mosley, the freshman, but potentially PJ Carter, who's a Memphis transfer, who's a great shooter, could log some of those minutes as well. I want to see what they do at the wing. I know that Deion Thomas is going to play the point. I know that Michael Nwoku and Jalen Reed are going to play a ton in the front court. But the 2 and the 3, I think there's a lot of room to see what happens there, and I'm curious to see what that looks like. As far as this matchup goes tonight, LSU has a huge side advantage. Tarleton State did not start anyone over 6'6" against SMU and didn't play anyone over 6'6" 20 minutes against SMU. So you look at Michael Nwoku, who's 6'10", 260. Look at Jalen Reed, who's 6'10", 240, 245. Like, that's a big size and strength advantage over Tarleton State. I think you'll rebound really well with that, but I'd also like to see LSU get the ball down onto the block and get some easy buckets around a shorter team. That's the advantage in this game. When it pertains to the big picture, that's what we're going to look at with this LSU team for this entire 2-month stretch. Like, they've got a stretch of some solid non-conference games. You play Boston College, you play Drake, you play Georgia Tech, you play Texas Tech, like play SMU. There are some good teams in later in December that you'll see, but like last year LSU did a really good job in the non-conference and they couldn't compete in the SEC. So we're not going to really learn anything until January unless it's negative. If you can't beat some of these teams, that's going to be a red flag for January, but we're not going to learn anything really positive until January. So big picture, like, I just like to see LSU make some shots from 3. They may not be a great three-point shooting team this year. Thomas has not been a great shooter in 2 years at UNLV. He's a good shooter. McKinnon should be a really good shooter. I think Zipper should be a really good shooter. PJ Carter should be a really good shooter. Jalen Reed shot it pretty well from 3 late in his freshman year for a big. He's not going to shoot 40%, but for a big. Hopefully they make some shots because last year you got into conference play and outside of Cam Carter, just nobody shot the ball worth a flip. You lost Tyrell Ward before the season started. Jai Bailey wasn't a shooter at all. Mike Williams took a step like 12 percentage points back in his shooting. Jordan Sears stepped back about 10 percentage points from his time at UT Martin shooting. Like, they just couldn't shoot the ball. I'd like to see the ball go through the bucket a little bit from three-point range tonight. It's just really hard to win basketball games when you can't spread the floor. And so that's something I'm going to be watching for. tonight, if you're going to the game, you don't really know anything about this team, just watch the point guard, watch Thomas work. He's really a technician down there, and I'm excited to watch him play in the SEC. And I think LSU should be just fine. And I haven't checked the point spread on the game. I think I can find it. I've got about a minute and 20 seconds here. See what we can find. I'm going to guess it's somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 18 would be my guess. It's 15.5, so I was around there, 15.5 tonight for LSU. They should handle themselves in this game. You got a lot of big size advantage and a big talent advantage. I'm not going to sell you a bill of goods on this LSU team right now. I'm not going to tell you they're in the tournament. I do think there's a chance the SEC is not quite as good this year, but that's something we'll learn down the line. For tonight, watch the point guard. You've got a size advantage. Get some balls to go through the net, stay healthy, and get off to a decent start in the PMAC. If you're going to the game tonight, they open the gates. In between the open of the gates and 10 minutes to tip off, they've got their buzzer beater special, so half off of some food items, of beer. So if you get there early enough, half off on some concessions until 10 minutes before tip off at the PMAC. I'll be there tonight. Looking forward to it. Hope to see y'all out there tonight. LSU and Tarleton State at 7. That'll do it for hour number 1. Lot to do in hour number 2. Including J.D. Pickell and our power rankings. We'll pause for national headlines and come back with more on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. service Chevrolet Cadillac. Our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. One day after his blockbuster trade from the Jets, quarterback Sauce Gardner practiced today with his new team, the Colts. Whether or not he makes his Indy debut Sunday against the Falcons in Germany depends on one thing, whether he clears concussion protocol. Gardner will be a perfect fit for defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo's system in Indy, notes ESPN NFL front office insider Mike Tannenbaum.
This is what he wants. He wants a longer corner that can play man-to-man. And if we're trying to get to the Super Bowl, at some point, be it Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City, we're going to have to get off the field and play man-to-man. I love the move. Look, you're paying a massive premium, but you're also saying we have our quarterback in Daniel Jones.
Mike Tannenbaum on Clinton and Friends. NBA Jazz center Walker Kessler will undergo season-ending surgery to repair a torn labrum in his left shoulder, reports ESPN's Tim McMahon and Shams Charania. Warriors wing Jimmy Butler expected to miss tonight's game at Sacramento with lower back soreness. Steph Curry's out with a seasonal cold. Baseball, the Braves exercised their $18 million club option on left-hander Chris Sale in 2026.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. The Pats and the Bucks both lead their divisions, but are they both legit Super Bowl contenders? It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half the work week officially in the rearview mirror. We're working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. JD Pickell in 15 minutes talking college football. Our SEC Power Rankings this week edition coming up 30 minutes from right now. We begin hour number 2 talking about the Saints. Not early, but in the morning hours yesterday, you saw Rashid Shaheed moved from the Saints up to Seattle. We discussed that trade on the show. And then once we got off the air, right at the buzzer of the trade deadline, you saw Trevor Penning being moved out to Los Angeles to the Chargers, who are really hurting on the offensive line and needed some help. And I talked to you during the show yesterday and said, look, this is the right thing. You've got to trade any value and any assets that you have to try to build for the future, because the present is so bleak for the New Orleans Saints that the immediate future is that bleak by proxy. Like, it just is. There's just not a quick fix to this. So anything that you can get that represents future assets that may help you down the line, you've got to do it. So is the return for Trevor Penning a 6th-round pick in the following, like not even the 2026 draft, the 2027 draft? Is that a big haul? No. But you didn't pick up Trevor Penning's option. You're probably not going to re-sign him. If you can get anything for him, you move him. And I think that's the right thing to do. Now, this is something that is important, I think, to me. We talked about the opposite situation when the clock was running out on Dennis Allen, because I felt like there was a good chance that the organization might make some short-sighted moves to try to save Dennis Allen's job and try to do everything they could with Derek Carr still there, and it may compromise the future of the organization. I was worried about hypothetical decisions the Saints could make to try to get fractionally better right now and mortgage future. And you have to always, as an organization, weigh the right now with the future. And that's the same situation now that Dennis Allen's gone, Derek Carr's gone. You're in that situation right now. It's just flipped. And so right now, you're without your most consistent wide receiver. Rashid Shaheed's gone. Right now, you're without your starting left guard. He's gone. And right now, you're trying to break in a new quarterback whose job just got tougher yesterday. There's no two ways about that. When you're Tyler Shough, and good or like, whatever you want to say about Trevor Penning's ability and his level of play, the staff deemed he was the best left guard they had, and you don't have him anymore. And Shaheed's gone as well. So you're looking at an offensive line that has a rookie at left tackle in Kelvin Banks. You don't have your starting left guard. Your center is out. Your right guard is the worst in the NFL. And your right tackle is a second-year player who's in his first year at right tackle. Like, that's not a good offensive line. Maybe Dylan Radins comes in and gives you a better level of play. That's possible. Maybe Richard steps in and does a really good job while Fuaga's hurt at right tackle. Like, maybe so, but your offensive line is not good. And one of the perceived strengths of this team entering the season at wide receiver, you just lost your biggest big play threat. So Tyler Shough is now really up against it. And I talked a lot about this in August, about trying to cultivate a quality ecosystem for Tyler Shough. Trying to give him every opportunity, even for Spencer Rattler too, trying to give him an opportunity, the best opportunity possible to develop and show himself. And you compromised that yesterday. And I'm good with it. I'm good with it. Because of what I had to say on Monday. If, man, your defensive backs were playing really good, and Chase Young was playing at a Pro Bowl level, and Brian Brzee, with the help of Devon Godshaw, had really stepped forward, and you were stopping the run pretty well, and your bookend tackles were really playing great, and Olave and Shaheed, now healthy, were really getting things done. And oh my goodness, Kendre Miller is running the ball, and you've actually got some real things that were looking good. Maybe you're only, what are the Saints, 1-8 right now, so that's 9 games. Maybe you're only 4-5. Maybe you're only 3-6, but you've lost a couple games by a field goal, and you're really competing. Well, at that point, I'm probably going to try to keep Tyler Shough in an advantageous situation. Theoretically, if they were playing that well, or maybe even seeing Rattler, and those guys, you're seeing strides. But what did I tell you on Monday? I told you on Monday, there's not a single position group on this team that's league average. Not one. So you're not in a spot where you've got to prioritize the quarterback's development. You're now in a spot where the quarterback is just part of an entire transformation of the roster. And so now my priorities have to change. I can't make decisions just based on the quarterback. And you never make them 100% on the quarterback, but you can prioritize the quarterback. You can't in this situation. In this situation, you've now got to think more so about future assets. And you know what one of those future assets might be? A first-round pick quarterback this year in the top 3 picks in the draft. Like, that may be one of those things. And you may have gotten closer to that yesterday. Like, you may have been. So it's unfortunate for Tyler Shough because they're going to throw him in the deep end of this pool. And, brother, this is a deep end of the pool. This is not actually throwing in the deep end of the pool. This is throwing you out in the middle of the lake, saying, figure it out. There's shore over there. Float on your back, call over some boats, get there one way or another, but we don't have a lot of help for you here. Because they don't. They don't have a good offensive line. The tight end doesn't make plays. Your best wide receiver's gone. You can't run the football. Your second-team running back's out. It's just not good. It's not good. And so what I think happened yesterday, it's been happening since the beginning of the season, but it went further yesterday, is you further diminished Tyler Shough's chances of being the Saints franchise quarterback. They haven't been eliminated. And what have I told you week after week after week after week? This is not new. I've told you this week after week. The odds that Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough is the Saints' 10-year franchise quarterback, the odds are low. 5th-round picks almost never make it. 2nd-round picks, not as good a hit rate as top 10 picks. Just pick an NFL team straight out of a hat. They've probably got a top 20 pick playing quarterback for them. Yes, there are exceptions to that, but probably. And so while that's a rule that your quarterback usually comes out of the top 20, by definition, outside the top 20, those guys don't have a great shot to excel. But it was good to take a chance. I'm okay with the Saints taking a chance on Shough. But based on where that team is now, based on where that roster is now, that just got even worse yesterday, I think the writing was on the wall that New Orleans will be in the market for a quarterback next spring. Like, they probably were anyway. I think it's even likelier now. If it was 75% Monday morning, it's 85% today. I think it's overwhelming that will happen. It's up to Shough to prove me wrong, to prove the Saints draft pick from last year right. It's going to be an uphill battle. But if Tyler Shough can succeed with this cast of characters, with that offensive line, with multiple patchwork pieces, with a wide receiver core of Chris Olave, Brandon Cooks, Devon Vele, Mason Tipton, if he can make this work, whoa, that's a statement. And the same way, if Kellen Moore can make this work, that's a statement. We don't have to worry about Kellen Moore when he's got a really good offense. When he's got a really good offensive personnel, Philly, Dallas, they produce. He's shown it. If he can do it with this group, if Shough can do it with this group, that's a statement. I just think the Saints did the right thing yesterday, recouping as much as they could for two of their assets. They're limited in their assets. They did the right thing there. It probably is at the detriment of Tyler Shough. And you're probably looking at the Saints drafting a quarterback in the spring. And guess what? Most Saints fans at this point are good with that. Most Saints fans are good with that. Because the vast majority of those Saints fans at this point have never seen a quarterback taken that early. Some have. A few. There are a few out there. Not many. And I think that's what you inched toward yesterday. I have not praised the Saints much. I blasted the entire organization on Monday, and that's kind of been the vibe since late last year. But they did the right thing yesterday, and now we just got to play out this string. Not a lot of fun, but it is what it is. Tough for Tyler Shough. We'll see what he can do coming up on Sunday. All right, that's first segment here in hour number one. We get our SEC football power rankings coming in about 20 minutes. We'll step aside. When we come back, J.D. Pickell talking National College Football storylines next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge, genesisofbatonrouge.com. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. That's the model at Genesis. And when I say luxury brand, it's not only just how wonderful the line of vehicles is, and it is a wonderful line of vehicles, but it's also just the facility, the people, and what they do over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. And my example that I've given you all a few times is like, they've got this room that just looks like an empty room in the showroom. Like, why would you have an empty room? Well, it's empty room sometimes, but oftentimes someone's purchasing a vehicle and you're able to drive into that room to go through the features of the vehicle in a climate-controlled environment. So in August, it's not 105. June afternoons, it's not raining on you. In January, it's not 36 or wet and soggy and damp. You just go into a climate control area and go through all the features of the vehicle. That's just a luxury that not all car dealerships and showrooms have. The people are going to treat you like a guest, not a customer. They're not going to be pushy. They're not going to pressure you. They're just there to help. And then you'll see the line of vehicles, and that'll speak for itself. If you're looking for a test drive, you don't have to go to the showroom. I recommend it. You don't have to. They'll come to you. That's part of the experience as well. They're on Airline at PQ. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, just stop by. You'll probably be on Airline Highway anyway. Just go see them. You can test drive a vehicle with one of those brand ambassadors. You will not regret it. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online at genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Raising Cane's is our victory meal.
Football fans are some of the most dedicated fans in sports. It's a fundamental quality we share, and that fuels every single order of our hand-battered chicken fingers. Wherever there's football, there's Raising Cane's.
One love. Let's go.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
While Louisiana politics can seem like they're from another planet, Moon Griffon isn't afraid to bring politicians back down to earth. Listen to the Moon Griffon Show weekday mornings at 9 on Talk 107.3.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Builder School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
SEC football power rankings coming your way in 15 minutes. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to get in that pool of your dreams? You can do it. BuiltByRenaissance.com. BuiltByRenaissance.com. Let's go out to the GemsFirearms.net phone lines. That's where we find our guy, JD Pickell. He is, of course, the host of the Hard Count, part of the On3 team. He's with us on Wednesdays. JD, how we doing?
It'd be better if I was in a pool, brother.
Yeah,
well. That pool you were talking about a second ago, man. It could be a men's pool would be nice right now. I'm just saying.
It would be nice. We'd rather probably be anywhere than where we are right now. Last time we spoke, I mean, it's been a little bit wild down here. You're outside our little bubble. What's the perception of what's going on in Baton Rouge over the last week and a half from those outside of the madness?
Yeah, I'd like to think I'm like maybe what's the right word? Like the token bubble guy here in Nashville for LSU. So I'm not like in the bubble, maybe I'm like touching the bubble. Yeah, vibes are not great, obviously. Not a lot to be super juiced about if you're speaking about LSU, as I tend to do from time to time on our own platform. I think if you're going to get excited, it's about two things. One, hey, mom's not home, home alone vibes for Garrett Nussmeier and the boys when you go to Tuscaloosa. No more Joe Sloan, no more Brian Kelly. And I have to think, if you're Garrett Nussmeier, you have to feel different throwing passes, knowing you're not walking back to a beat red Brian Kelly on the sideline if it's incomplete. Like, that has to be a good feeling. So maybe we feel a little bit of friskiness from the boys this weekend in Tuscaloosa. Second thing we're excited about, hey, the whole world is now at our fingertips. Everyone's telling us we got the best job in college football available. Let's go swing big. Let's go land Lane Kiffin. Let's go land X, Y, and Z big name. So maybe there's some optimism in what could be ahead. And there's nothing wrong with that, huh? You speak about where LSU gets started. So those two things keep you afloat. But if you want to look at where you are right now when it comes to people being afloat metaphor, yeah, the boat's taking off now.
Well, see, JD, we got a little bit of a scratchiness on the phone, so Jordan's going to hang up, call you right back. But look, there's a point that he's making there that's good. Like, you do take a lot of the pressure off, and that's something that happens with these interim deals. I don't know how much a lot of times when coaches are about to get fired, the Billy Napier situation, certainly the Hugh Freeze situation, the Sam Pittman, that's like a lot of years bubbling up. This did not feel like this. LSU was in the top 5, and then 3 weeks later, boom, your coach is gone. So it didn't feel exactly like that with a lot. I feel like a lot wasn't hanging over these guys. But you do have a different vibe, and there's no question about that. And Frank Wilson's brought out a lot of motivational tactics. So we'll see how that plays on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. Let's talk about that game, JD, and talk about Alabama, what you've seen from them, and what you like about Kalen DeBoer's team since they were just dominated in Week 1 against Florida State.
Yeah, I mean, let's start there. The fact that they got dominated in Week 1 and were ranked number 4 in last night's playoff ranking should be a PSA to all of us of, hey, Week 1 takes are fun, energetic. They're not real life. It's 1 week, one sample size. We all overreact. I think I was on this very show and was like, Kalen DeBoer cannot have any other losses like that going forward. Otherwise, we start talking about his job security, which clearly not something they got to worry about right now when it comes to Kalen DeBoer being the next guy, or the next guy rather behind Kalen DeBoer in Tuscaloosa. Don't think you have to worry about that for a minute. But to answer your question, I love just the level Ty Simpson's operating at right now. Because there's a couple of things about Alabama that make you raise your eyebrow when you put them under the microscope. Hey, that defensive line hasn't been very bully-ish this year relative to previous Bama teams and the Bama standards, giving up 4.5 a clip. Hey, that run game doesn't really remind you of like Mark Ingram and Derrick Henry. It's been a little bit lackluster. But even with all of that being said, Ty Simpson's just shredding people. And so that might just be the way this thing goes for the rest of the year for Alabama. Is it a perfect team? No, but are there perfect teams in college football right now? I would be hard-pressed to say no.
Let's talk about Texas A&M. They go to Columbia to play Missouri, 8-0, ranked 3rd in the country. How do you feel that one goes in Columbia?
I think this one's kind of a Matt Berry alert for me, Hunt. What I mean by that is you're watching your game, whatever window it is, maybe it's not this game specifically, but then you get a game break. It's Matt Berry saying, hang on, we got madness in Tuscaloosa, or hey, we got madness in Columbia, Missouri, or hey, we got madness just wherever it ends up being. And in this specific spot, A&M's now had a full week to hear about how good they are, and Missouri is coming into the spot with a true freshman quarterback. Hunt, they trust Matt Zollers to throw the ball in this one. Like against in Nashville, against Vanderbilt, when College Game Day was in town, it's a one-score game, it's a tied game, 4th and 2, 4th and 4. On both occasions, Drink and Kirby Moore are like, no, Matt Zollers, throw the ball here, brother. And they converted both of them. So I don't think Missouri will be careful. I think it's kind of a weird spot in general. I think A&M wins, but I would not be shocked in the slightest if we get some madness in the first half of Matt Berry alert that this one's a little bit weird early.
How good are BYU and Texas Tech? They'll play each other there in Lubbock, 2 teams that have 8 wins. BYU's undefeated, and Texas Tech is 8-1. They're both in the top 10 in the country.
I think Texas Tech is better than BYU. I'll start there. I think that their raw ingredients are better. I think their front 7 is better. I think their weapons are better. And people are going to hear that and say, this guy's a freaking BYU hater. What's going on with that? If you had seen me in person, you know I resemble almost to a T the complexion of what a BYU fan or student body member would actually resemble. So there's that part. But with that being said, I think Texas Tech, what I just said, the firepower, the personnel, the games in Lubbock. I think if we're going to talk about the college football playoff, Texas Tech has the juice to actually go make something happen here, whereas BYU is a team that is a fun story. Bear Bachmeier is awesome, but I don't think that there's some real legs to them. Should you put them in the college football playoff? Even though I think they will make the college football playoff, I think Texas Tech's got more juice.
Last one here, JD. Appreciate your time. I'm curious what you think about Georgia, who continues to win. They just aren't winning the way that they used to win, where they beat everybody by 30. What do you think about them?
They're kind of class clownish, but they still get A's. You know what I mean? Like there's that kid who's always telling jokes and goofing off in the back of the class, and then the teacher's like, dude, we have a test on this tomorrow. Are you dialed in? That's been Georgia for the better part of this entire season, but then they show up on test day and still find a way to eke out a 90. So I think if they keep flying close to the sun, they're at some point going to get burned. But even if that happens, like 10-2 Georgia with wins over Tennessee and Ole Miss, I still think they get into the college football spot. So I like Georgia. Would like them to be a little bit more definitive in some of the things they're doing over the course of these next few Saturdays. But I think that they are going to be playing their best ball when it's time for the playoff.
JD, we appreciate a little bit of time. We'll talk next week.
Appreciate it. Have a good one, man.
You too. That's JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. Sorry for the cell phone issues there. Just a little bit scratchy in and out. I feel like you could hear most of what he was saying, but it's kind of a tough listen there at times. So I wanted to get his thoughts on a couple of those games. And I don't think there's a lot of people down here too locked in on BYU and Texas Tech, but BYU's undefeated 8-0. Texas Tech is 8-1, 5-1 in the Big 12. Like, winner of that game kind of takes control of the Big 12 as far as the regular season goes. And Texas Tech's a 10.5-point favorite in that game, so you got to figure that they've got a great chance to win it. But undefeated's undefeated, and BYU is at that point right now. I think his points about LSU and Alabama, again, as we mentioned there at the top, are interesting. There's a part of me that sees an interim bump here. There's a part of me that sees that stadium overwhelming an LSU offense that can't do much, and Alabama scoring points the way that basically Vanderbilt and Ole Miss and Texas A&M did, and it getting way away from LSU. Like, I can see both of those happening, and it'll be just kind of interesting to see how it pans out. We haven't talked a ton this week about LSU and Alabama. I've got a Thursday show and a Friday show. We're going to do a lot of that. You fired an athletic director and hired one in the early part of the week, and there wasn't a game to react to over the weekend. So it's not totally uncommon that we haven't broken down the opponent a ton by Wednesday. I did talk about the running game earlier today, and I did talk a little bit about Alabama on yesterday's show, but it hasn't been a huge focus because there's been so much going on. But there is a game, and these guys do have to suit up and go play in what is one of the most iconic brand matchups in the sport of college football. And it's just a weird week. And it's one of those things that I've talked about a lot over the years. I love college football. LSU, Tiger Stadium, Saturday night, I absolutely adore it. I love doing the pregame show out there between the ramps of the PMAC. I love the way campus feels on a fall Saturday. And when you're in one of those runs, it's like walking on air. But on the flip side, this can happen where, like, it's not like LSU's been a complete disaster this year. They went on the road and beat Clemson. They handled their business against Florida and South Carolina. They played a tough one-score game against Ole Miss. They played a tough one-score game against Vanderbilt, two teams that are in the top 15 in the country, and lost them. And then you got beat by a top 5 team. Like, you got beat in a game you were leading at halftime. Like, they haven't been a complete disaster. But we pulled the plug on the whole season. That's what irks me about college football sometimes. I'm not saying it is wrong. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong to sit there and go, well, I'm a little bit more concerned with who we're hiring as a football coach than whether or not we can stop Bama on third downs on Saturday. That's big picture. It is what it is. But, like, in basketball or baseball, like, you could still course correct. In football, like, you're cooked. And that does make, when it is good, it feels so good because you know how it can be. But, like, when you're in this position and we're sitting here where we are today, like, I look at the numbers. I know what the site and the YouTube numbers say when we write about the athletic director getting fired and the coach getting fired. I know what they say when we break down Alabama's passing game. Like, there's a stark contrast into what people are interested in. It's not on the football field. And that's a bit of a bummer to me because I like sports. I don't like politics. I don't like getting into semantics and trying to peek behind doors to see what's going to happen in a hiring situation where nobody really knows. I like what goes on the field, on the court. That's what I like. And it feels like college football at times shifts over to, well, who are you going to hire? Well, what's the next recruiting class? Like all those types of things that this used to be the game on the schedule. And what percent of the fan base do we feel like is completely locked in right now? 20%? 9%? Like, what is it? It's not a huge number because you had 3 bad games. That's heavy stuff. It's why those games are really important. It's why 100,000 people lock in and millions watch it, and the ESPN and Fox pay bajillion dollars for the rights. And I get it, but it's not where you want to be right here. If you're LSU on Bama week, you're just kind of thinking about the future as opposed to what's right in front of you, which used to be the biggest game on the calendar. All right, let's take a time out. We'll come back with the SEC Power Rankings. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carbo and his team right here in Baton Rouge do awesome work. They're an independent broker. Means they've got contract with dozens and dozens of carriers. They know where your commercial insurance program needs to be placed. And maybe that's a captive. If you're a sizable business and you haven't been shown a captive, you feel like your insurance premiums are squeezing you a little bit, looking for another solution and it just hasn't been presented, maybe that captive is next for you. And maybe your current broker doesn't have the capability or the understanding to get you into it. It's complex and it's fairly new, relatively speaking. Jonathan Carver and his team at the Howard Insurance Group, they can absolutely get you the information you need about a captive. If your loss history is good, your risk management is good, your premiums are significant, you may be a fit to completely change the way you handle your insurance expenses. These kind of creative solutions are what you need to be looking for in your insurance broker. And Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Howard Insurance Group can do that for you. So if you're an owner of a business, CFO, risk manager, whoever's handling the insurance over there, and you haven't looked at a captive, reach out to the Howard Insurance Group. They're at highlandig.com. Fill out that contact us and get that process started today. It's Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group, highlandig.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Trust isn't given, it's earned by showing up, leading the way, and performing at your best when it matters most. Our Lady of the Lake sports medicine experts know what it takes to improve performance and build champions at every level. That's why LSU chose Our Lady of the Lake as its championship health partner, trusting Louisiana's best medical team to care for our state's best athletes. From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
I trust the lake.
Mornings with Brian Haldane is the only live and local talk show in the capital city. Get the news from the newsmakers, along with traffic and weather.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
There are times where this happens on live radio. I'm not going to try to fake it. I'm just going to be very transparent with you here. Piper Hutchinson, who covers Louisiana politics and higher education, was at a press conference today where LSU President Wade Roos was speaking and he was fielding questions. And she tweeted out a quote of his. And I'll read you the quote. I don't have a lot to comment on it, but I'll give you the quote. Piper Hutchinson tweets, I asked incoming LSU president Wade Roos on the decision to name Verge Ausberry the permanent athletic director. And this is the quote. I'll remove the interim title and then we'll assess the situation. I can't make a very good decision after being on that job for 8 hours. Now, I told you to start the show. I didn't like the process. I didn't like hiring an athletic director a couple of hours after the introductory press conference. Like, to me, that confirms there is no search for an athletic director, and I don't like that. I think Verge is completely qualified for the job, and reiterated that as well. But it's just the process I don't like. And now you're getting a quote that suggests that they're taking the interim off, but we'll evaluate it later. I'm not sure what to make of that. So I'm not going to do 10 minutes on a quote that I'm reading off of Twitter. I don't have much more to add to it than that. It's a little vexing, little perplexing. I'm not sure what to make of it. I'm confident that there will be more said on the matter. But right now, I'm just relaying that information to you as to not kind of sleep on it. It's an interesting quote. I'm not sure what to make of that, but I guess we'll get more information. That's just a big old tongue twister. More information as we move forward here with the new inner workings of the administration at LSU. All right, it's Wednesday, bottom of the second hour, Power Rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings.
Texas A&M! Got the Aggies at the first spot here. I think they're the most complete team in the SEC. I think they're really good at rushing the passer. I think they're explosive on the offensive end at playmaker. I think their quarterback is playing excellent football. They're the best defense in the country on third downs. The Aggies are for real. They're good. They're number one.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Got the Tide at number 2. Their quarterback's playing the best of anybody in the SEC right now. They don't run it great, and they don't stop the run great. That's concerning. But they throw it great, they stop the pass great, and they're beating really good teams. So I think the resume, and from that perspective, I'll take Alabama at number 2.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
It's ugly, but it gets done. I wouldn't suggest they were great against Florida over the weekend, but Gunnar Stockton's gritty and tough. And what I like about Georgia is they can win in a slugfest against Auburn. They can win in a shootout against Ole Miss. They're just a good team. Their one loss is to Alabama, who I've got a little bit above them. But I think Georgia's national championship good. I wouldn't bet on them to win it, but I think they could.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Rebels are good. That's an impressive win, going to Norman and just getting it done up there. I think Trinidad Chambliss has played himself into an NFL draft pick, which is wild. Lane Kiffin is just really good with quarterbacks, identifying them and developing them. I think they run the ball well. I think they can throw it pretty well. The defense is not great. It's not great, but it's been opportunistic and good enough. So that's got them at number 4.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
Really nice win by the Sooners to go to Knoxville and beat Tennessee. Matera is healthier, throwing it a little bit. I thought they did a good job at limiting Joey Aguilar at times. Their defense is still very good. I've got Oklahoma there in the 5 slot.
Texas A&M.
Incorrect.
The Texas Longhorns.
Can't have Texas A&M twice. I'm sure there are folks that that's the Jim Schlossnagle there. He's the coach at Texas. He says hook him on TV. Happens to Jordan too. It's all right. Texas, big mover here. Arch Manning's playing better. No two ways about it. Mississippi State's not good. Vanderbilt's defense is okay, but he's just playing a lot better. He was playing bad against the non-conference games they were playing. He's getting better, and their defense is very talented. It hadn't played great. They let Vanderbilt score 21 straight in the fourth quarter. But Texas looks to be more functional. And I've told you this a lot of times. Once you get to this spot, 5, 6, 7 in the rankings, the rest of these teams have got some significant flaws. Texas has got that, but Arch Manning's playing better. He was the main reason I was holding them back all year. I've got Texas all the way up to number 6.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
I know that game was close in Austin, but Texas dominated the first 3 quarters. Vanderbilt came on late. You get credit for that on the scoreboard, not necessarily in the power rankings. I thought Texas was better than Vanderbilt. I think they are more talented than Vanderbilt, but not to dismiss Vanderbilt completely. Got him right there at number 7. Pavia can make plays. He's capable. He did a good job in the fourth quarter against Texas. Give me Vanderbilt at 7.
The Missouri Tigers.
Even with an injury at quarterback, I still think Missouri deserves some flowers, more so because the teams behind them have had significant issues, and Missouri hasn't necessarily shown that to this point. It's a solid Missouri team. They don't do anything spectacular. You look across the stat sheet, there's nothing that jumps out like, whoa, Missouri. They're just pretty good, and their schedule's easy, and that helps. So I got Missouri at number 8.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
That's not a good loss for Tennessee to have Oklahoma come into Neyland and win. It's just not. Tennessee doesn't run it like they did last year, and their defense isn't as good as it was last year. Aguilar makes some perplexing decisions at times, but he does produce through the air as well. Tennessee, good, not great.
The LSU Tigers.
Best of the worst here for LSU. That defense is not nearly what we thought it was, and they can't run the ball. But they're talented enough to have beaten some of the teams that are below them, namely the two that are immediately below them. So I'll give LSU the spot at number 10.
The Florida Gators.
Gritty effort by Florida. You don't have a coach. You hang in there with Georgia. Lagway's not a great player. He's not a 5-star talent. They don't run it as well as they should with Jaden Ball and a veteran offensive line. That defensive front that we thought a lot of, they're 10th in the conference in run defense. They don't do a lot great. It's just not a very good team, so I've got them at number 11.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
This might be generous. I don't know. They played Bama tough. Like they've been in a couple of games late, but they're bad. They don't do anything well. They fired Mike Shula, which was a terrible hire by Shane Beamer. He's going to get a chance to redo it. They're going to let the entire staff coordinate the offensive game plan, and then they have their offensive line coach call plays. It's a mess on offense there in Columbia, and we'll see if they can keep Dylan Stewart another year. I have my Dallas Sellers will be gone. I don't have a lot of hopes for South Carolina football moving forward, but they're better than some of the other teams on this list, so I'll put them there at number 12.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Nice win by Jeff Levy. They win their first time in 17 tries in SEC play by going to Arkansas and getting it done by outscoring them in the fourth quarter. They got scored on defense. They have their issues on the offensive side as well. They probably thought they might have to make a quarterback change with Blake Shapen going out with an injury. Backup came in, led a good drive. They went back to Shapen. He threw a pick, but they got it done. They've hung tough. They've played well against Texas, played well in some other games this year. They hadn't won, but they finally did. I got them at 13.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Look, you lost. You keep losing. You hadn't won a league game. They're good on offense. They're not the worst team in the league. And they do really well on offense. And I said on Monday, I might keep Bobby Petrino because at least the offense will be good. But they're not a good team. I got them at number 14.
The Auburn Tigers.
I had to dump Auburn to 15. I know Auburn went to Arkansas and won, and we do the transitive property thing, and the head-to-head thing matters in some cases. In some cases it doesn't. But Auburn got thumped on its home field by Kentucky. That's atrocious. So I've got to move them down to the 15 spot here.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And then you go, wait a second. Kentucky just went to Auburn and won. How are they ahead? Well, wait a second. Auburn played Georgia tough. Auburn went up to Fayetteville and won. It's not a one-game sample size. It's the whole year. Kentucky is the worst team in the league. Auburn's terrible, but their defense is really good. Kentucky doesn't do anything well, but they just got Auburn on the right night. I think if you played this game on Saturday again with Hugh Freeze coaching, Auburn probably wins. I think they're better than Kentucky. I think Kentucky's the worst team in the league. I'm sorry. I know the results on Saturday. Doesn't matter. Kentucky is 16. So those are your SEC power rankings. A&M at 1, Bama at 2. Got Georgia at 3 and Ole Miss at 4. Those are my playoff teams right now. Oklahoma's at 5, Texas at 6, Vanderbilt at 7, Missouri at 8, Tennessee in the 9 spot. Then you got LSU all the way down to 10. That's a sad state of affairs. Florida is at 11, South Carolina 12, Mississippi State 13, Arkansas 14, Auburn 15, and the last spot it is the Kentucky Wildcats. SC Power Rankings on this Wednesday. So we did this exercise at the end of Power Rankings a couple of weeks ago. I actually didn't do it pre-show, so I'm going to do it live on the air here and see what happens here. I'm going to check off A&M's 8 conference opponents and see where they rank in the newest Power Rankings. Okay, they play Auburn, that's 15, Arkansas 14, Mississippi State 13, South Carolina 12, Florida 11, LSU 10, Missouri 8, and Texas 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's it. So Texas A&M's conference schedule does not include, they're number 1 here, so they can't play them. Doesn't include 2 Alabama, doesn't include 3 Georgia, doesn't include 4 Ole Miss, doesn't include 5 Oklahoma, doesn't include 7 Vanderbilt, doesn't include 9 Tennessee, does not include 16 Kentucky. But they play number 15, number 14, number 13, number 12, number 11, number 10, number 8, number 6. That's what I've got. And they're my power rankings. This is not exact science. It's completely subjective. But it does speak to that. I still think A&M is national championship good. I think they're the best team in the SEC. But you swap that schedule around a little bit. You take Arkansas out, put Alabama on. You take Florida out, put Ole Miss on. We may be singing a different tune. That's the beauty of scheduling. And I know that people often talk about, well, I want to play the best. Give me the best. I want to play Florida. I want to play Bama. I want to play Auburn. Well, this is a pretty good way to go about it too. I don't see a lot of people sitting there on national talking head shows going, yeah, A&M's good, but like, kind of a joke. That schedule's pitiful, dude. No one says that. You go, oh, 8-0. Nice job. That's why if you ask me who LSU's permanent opponents are, Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Kentucky. That's who I want to play.
Vanderbilt's not easy out anymore, though.
I'll take my chances.
Okay.
I'll take my chances with Vanderbilt. All right, we'll come back and close it out.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com is the website. The beauty of working with Renaissance for that pool you've always dreamed about is that you're working with a local company. Joey Blanchard has helped dozens and dozens and dozens of people in Baton Rouge get that pool of your dreams. Doesn't matter what kind of pool you're looking for. You can get the biggest, baddest, fanciest resort style pool you want. Maybe you just want a little cocktail pool. Maybe you want to make sure that your kids can swim in the pool and you take care of them from that perspective. Maybe you want a pool you can sunbathe in. Like, no matter what you're looking for, maybe you want a combination of all of that. Joey can help you design it. You work with him. He's the owner. He's there when they're digging that pool. He's there when they're filling that pool, finishing that pool. And you know where you can always find him. That's the beauty of working with a local company, which Renaissance Homes and Pools is. Joey's cell is 225-252-7745. I'll give it to you again. Joey's cell is 225-252-7745. If you're looking to get into the pool of your dreams, you're looking for that outdoor kitchen you've always wanted, to make sure you're getting into that by spring of next year, Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Faugu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Faugu.
Banking on the go? Our mobile app makes it effortless. But at Campus Federal, you're more than just an account number. We build relationships with our members, supporting you from saving for college to owning your first home. If you're buying a car, planning a home renovation, or a vacation, we're here to help. Campus Federal Credit Union, your trusted financial partner for every stage of life. Start your journey today.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wrapping things up here on this Wednesday. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Reminder, LSU Tarleton State tonight in the PMAC 7 o'clock tip. You get there a little bit early. Half price on select concessions, including beer, until 10 minutes before tip-off. So until 6:50, got that Beat the Buzzer specials. You can get on by and see LSU and Tarleton State. I'll have coverage up on LouisianaSports.net tonight. We'll be talking about it on tomorrow's show. If you'd like to read a game preview of basketball, you can. LouisianaSports.net. We've also got some football content up there as well. Frank Wilson talked on OTB today about the mindset of the team. They're going up there to pick a fight, is what he said. I've got that written over at LouisianaSports.net, plus an injury report on Carius Curran and Whit Weeks. We talked about that today on the show. If you missed any of the show, you can always catch it on demand. We got one more order of business, of course. Let's take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer, 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, but all the flavor you're looking for. Perfect for out on the grill, perfect for tailgating, perfect for any situation you're looking for something crisp, refreshing, and light. Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
All right, we're going to start it off with a little, I know Halloween just passed, but it's a little freaky. So Tom Brady's been in the news recently for having a cloned dog. His dog currently is a clone of his dog that passed away in 2023. So is cloning your deceased pet, take it or leave it?
I'm going to leave that. That's real?
That is real, yeah.
Leave it alone.
His dog that he currently has is a clone of his pet dog
like
in
that
2023.
I don't like that at all. Makes it feel like it's a robot dog or something. I don't like it. I don't get cloning. I don't understand. I know we did a sheep a while back. Was that in my textbooks when I was a kid or something? I don't like it. The dogs are great. Love dogs.
Yeah.
Like to have a dog, but eventually the dog passes away, and that's the end of the dog, and you probably got to get a new dog. You don't have to clone. Tom Brady's weird.
Yeah.
Tom Brady needs to let his pets die. He needs to eat a tomato once in a while. We got to chill out with all the weird stuff. It's just weird. Like, you're not playing anymore. Let's just ease back into some normal society here.
You know what that shows me? It shows me that he just has so much money, he doesn't know what to do with it. I'm going to just go ahead and clone my deceased dog from 2 years ago.
If you gave me Tom Brady's money and then said, all right, make a list of what you're going to do, cloning my pet
dog
is like 9,356 on the list.
At least. So,
goodness gracious.
You know, we got to talk about your Cubs. So the Chicago Cubs are in the news because they're likely going to part ways with Kyle Tucker. We already talked about that because he's seeking a contract north of $300 million in free agency. Cubs doing the right thing. Let him hit the road, take it or leave it.
Leave it. You can't win without stars. Did you watch the World Series? You saw Ohtani. You saw Freeman. You saw Betts. You saw Glasnow and Snell and
even,
Yamamoto. Toronto. You saw Vlad Jr., who is absolutely a star. Like, you need that guy in the lineup. And the Cubs have, like, a lot of good players. Like, Ian Happ's a nice player. Dansby Swanson, nice player. Like, hey, that's a really nice second baseman there, Nico Corner. But they don't have a dude. And, like, Tucker was that for 2 months, and then he never was again. So you need to have that guy. You can't get him if you're the Kansas City Royals. If you're the Chicago Cubs, you can.
Yeah.
They should.
All right. This one is kind of near and dear to me. Christmas commercials before Thanksgiving. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Because they're trying to get you to buy stuff, and it's generally a good idea to do some shopping early. Now, my wife on Sunday is trying to play Christmas music over the speakers.
Oh, she's one of the early Christmas.
It's November the 1st. We're not doing that. It's 82 degrees outside. Like, I don't like that. I love Christmas.
Yes.
I need it right, like, the week of Thanksgiving and beyond. I'd prefer it if we just wait till the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade finishes, and then you can let Christmas throw up all over the house.
Yes.
But my wife is a serial holiday skipper. She can't wait to get the pumpkins out September 1st. It's 1,000 degrees. She can't wait to do the Christmas stuff right now. She's a serial holiday skipper. Now Myers is getting involved in Christmas, and he's got added incentive for Christmas because his birthday is the 27th. So he's got, like, I want Christmas and my birthday.
No way.
So it's not there yet, bud. We got 2 months to go. So you got to cool the jets, but his mom does not help in that. So no, I don't go Christmas music at all for me until after Thanksgiving. I'm okay if you want to throw a decoration up here or there.
Yeah.
But right now, and the commercials are fine because they're trying to get you to buy stuff. But right now, decorations, probably not the time.
Okay, so I got to ask this now. Myers' birthday is December 27th. How are you going to manage this moving forward, knowing that you got Christmas and you got his birthday?
Would you like me to add on to that?
Okay.
Myers' mom's birthday, my wife's birthday, December 30th.
Oh, no.
This is not good for me.
Terrible.
It's a bad deal.
This is like people that
it's a lot
have
of pressure.
girlfriend whose birthday is close to Valentine's Day.
Correct. That's a bad deal, too. Anniversaries and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's bad. So, like, the deal here for me is, like, this year we're going to Shreveport for Christmas.
Okay.
And the 27th is, like, a Saturday, I think. Yeah. So we'll still be in Shreveport. Now, my parents and Alyssa are in charge of his, like, family birthday party. He's only turning 4. He does have friends at school, but, like, they don't know who's having a birthday party when or whatever.
They just show up.
Yeah, like, we had a birthday party for his first one. His second one, we didn't even have a birthday party. Like, whatever. Everyone's gone. He never has to go to school on his birthday, which I guess is a positive. Nice. But never a pool party either. But I've got 2 other cousins who are the 27th as well. First cousin on my dad's side, second cousin on my mom's side. 27th. We'll get it figured out. But yeah, it's going to be an expensive end of December for me forever.
We're going to pray for your wallet.
That's it. Send a lot of prayers. That's it. Matt's going to drive you home next on AFR. We'll see you tomorrow talking hoops and, of course, LSU Bama on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate